Well, good afternoon, First Baptist Church. Welcome to the Monday blog. We've been working our way through the book of Haggai. And today we're really going to see this rebuilding of the temple as this symbol to what our heart should be like when we've given it to God. So let me share my screen as we start to dive into this text. The first thing that we notice is that it's dated. It says right here, on the 24th day of the ninth month. We know that this is about 2 months after the last time Haggai talked. Before it was the seventh month, now it's the ninth month, and before it was the 27th day, and now it's the 24th day. And the word of the Lord came by Haggai the prophet. This is cool how God is speaking to him and then he's speaking out. But this time he does something a little bit different. He asked Haggai to ask the priest about the law. Now, I don't know how significant this is, but you see this transition afterwards where the priests have a little bit more power, where the priests really get to define some things. But I think really what God is doing here is just reminding these priests that even though they're rebuilding this temple, doesn't mean that there's a heart change. So why do I think that? First thing as we see is this holy meat. Well, how do you have holy meat? Well, it has to be meat that has been offered to God. And so we can apply this same concept to our own life. When we've offered our life to God, now we become holy through the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. And just because we've become holy, our life is now Christ, doesn't mean that anything we touch, anything that we're around automatically becomes holy. No, each person has to make their own decision to follow Jesus. And so what did the priests say? They said no, right? It's difficult to follow Jesus. It's not the easy path. It's not the world's path that is so easy. And he goes in to talk about that. He says, if someone is unclean by contact with dead body, touches any of these, does it become unclean? And the answer is yes, right? When something outside of that becomes and touches it, now it becomes unclean because God is perfect and he can only accept this holy and righteous person. And the only way we get that way is through Jesus Christ. A great example would be if I had a glass of water and I went to put a little drop of dye in there. If I put one drop of red dye in that glass of water, it would turn pink and the whole thing would be ruined. But if I wanted to take a glass of pink water and turn it to be clear water, I couldn't put one drop of clear water in there. No, it would take completely dumping that water out and having this renewal, this living water that's given to us by Jesus and for us to be clean again. And so that's how we have to look at it, right? Just because they're building this temple, right? Just because they're working with their hands, right? Doesn't mean that they're clean. No, the only way we're clean is by giving our life to Christ, by a heart change, by giving ourselves to him and him doing the transformation in us. And then as we do that, we keep ourselves away from the uncleanliness of the world and focus on Christ with our life. And as we do it, he grows us and allows us to develop, even though we might sin still. We're still seen in this presence of God through the lens of Jesus Christ, who was the living water, who filled us and made us clean. And so, as we continue to work through this text, I want to challenge us to really focus on Christ and not on the things of this world. Focus on our heart and examine our heart often. Is it a heart that is devoted to Jesus? And if it is, then you can be reassured that you can be absolutely positive that you are one of Christ's kids and that you are part of his kingdom. And if it's not, I challenge you to focus on that and not let the outside substances defile you. So thank you for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys next week. Have a wonderful day.